All right, let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide here for a second. Look, we've talked about them a lot this offseason, going through the transition to Coach DeBoer, of course, and the fact that DeBoer is already off to a really strong start. But one thing that's really impressive about this new coaching staff is very similar to all great coaching staffs that we see in college football, is they continue to build off of their successes. They continue to be hyper focused on the future, right? They're not short-term focused, which you would expect, right? Alabama wouldn't hire a chump to be their head coach, but it's obviously a good sign that DeBoer is doing a good job. And let's get into a couple reports real quick, highlighting exactly what DeBoer is bringing to the table just in the recent news when it comes to the Crimson Tide. This first one is from On3 Sports. Kalen DeBoer and the new staff at Alabama are still looking to land their first five-star prospect in their inaugural full recruiting cycle in Tuscaloosa, Mission Viejo, California. Five-star cornerback Dijon Lee may be just who they're looking for. The Crimson Tide are currently training to land Lee per the On3 recruiting prediction machine at 87%. So that basically means the Crimson Tide have an 87% chance of landing Lee, and every other team in college football combined has 13%. Not a done deal, but pretty close there. Good move, of course, by DeBoer. This next report is from Bama Central. The Tide are in the mix for a handful of five stars, likely, like we just mentioned. And according to a report by 24/7 Sports, are expected to host the best player in the state of Nevada for an official. According to 24/7 Sports' Tom Lloyd, the Tide is one of the five programs that will be receiving a visit from five-star receiver Derek Meadows. All right, so we see a California kid. Looks like he's going to commit to Alabama, and Alabama is clearly in the mix for a Nevada kid as well. Any concerns about the Alabama Crimson Tide losing their national appeal, I think, could be put to bed now. All right, Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Bama fans, in the comment section below, as we get ready for the regular season, if it's still a little ways away, but it's getting closer and closer and closer, what's one team that Crimson Tide are going to play this year that worries you the most, right? There's obviously a lot of opportunities, some road games that could be trap kind of games. There's obviously a lot of talented teams you got to play, but make you choose one here. Give us one team that worries you the most for the upcoming season and put it in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this latest news for the Alabama Crimson Tide and everything Coach DeBoer is doing so far.
Yeah, Nick. I think Coach DeBoer came in, and we've talked about this multiple times. So go back, check out our other Alabama videos this offseason. We talked about his recruiting prowess many, many, many times. But he came in, I'll give you the quick narrative. He came in, and everyone had question marks, questions about this, question about that, question about is he going to control the team? Are people going to leave? Is he going to be able to bring in new people? And I think slowly but surely, he started to change those opinions that people had on if he was capable or not. I think the main one is we saw a big time player from Alabama, Caden Proctor, say he's going to transfer to Iowa, then ends up hitting the portal again, coming back to Alabama. That's when I feel like things really started to turn, and we talked about that as well earlier on. But now, ever since that's happened, we've seen more and more trending towards Alabama getting bigger and bigger time players, guys wanting to come back to Alabama, almost like someone was like, hey, I left. It's not as good on the other side. I came back, and Alabama is the place to be. And the big time recruits are like, well, if this guy who's a really good player in Proctor is going to come back to Alabama, I think, it's a sign that all clear Alabama is definitely still the place to be. When you see guys like Lee coming over here, when you see guys like Meadows looking to come over here and really just having a strong view on this program, I think we're going to see here very soon. Alabama's not only going to get their first five-star recruit, but they're going to get their second and potentially get their third as well. I think Coach DeBoer has turned the corner and really kind of erased the question marks about what he is able to do. And now they're going to start being able to load up. All of these recruits are going to see this is a program that's very stable and it's a good place to be. And I think we're going to see a lot of talent now starting come back to Alabama.
Well, you say talent come back. It's one of the weird things because there's a prevailing narrative, right? That so much talent left, whether it was transfers or a lot of recruits decided to go away from Alabama in the short term, 2024. But if you actually look at the numbers, the media narrative is wrong. Alabama finished with the second best recruiting class in the country, second only to Georgia, according to 24/7 Sports. And their transfer class was pretty good as well. Number three in the country behind Ole Miss and Oregon, again, according to 24/7 Sports. So the narrative that Alabama was just losing recruits and losing transfers and just being devastated left and right was a media machination. It was false, wasn't real. 2025 is looking pretty good as well. Alabama, very early on, has the 8th best class right now, a top 8 as well in terms of average quality of recruits. So you're looking at a program that's doing very well long-term recruiting. As we get more mature in the cycle, I'm sure they'll rise through the rankings. But if you look at the geographical allocation of these recruits, it's just everything you would want from DeBoer, right? You've got last year, 2024, this year, I should say, 11 guys from the state of Alabama, 3 from California, 3 from Florida, 2 for Texas, and then 1 from a bunch of other spots. So again, local and then hitting the big powerhouse programs nationwide. Smart strategy. You look at very early 2025 so far, 4 Alabama, 3 Georgia, local, and they're also going a little national as well. California, Maryland, New Jersey, and of course, you could probably end up adding another California in Lee and maybe in Nevada as well, coming into the fold as well. So you're looking at everything that DeBoer is doing in Alabama, and he's checking every box the way an elite coach would in terms of recruiting, right? He is up there with the Kirby Smarts. He is up there and sometimes exceeding their Sarkisians, the Brian Kellys, his competition in the SEC. He will never, I don't want to say never, he will most likely not get to Nick Saban's level. I think we can all agree on that because no one probably ever will. He's the greatest coach of all time, I think. But the fact that just comparing him to those competition, he's doing as good or better. Bama fans, I mean, this is really what you could not have asked for anything better, especially when you're dealing with obviously a transition offseason. And give credit to Coach DeBoer. Everything he has done this offseason has been picture perfect, and that trend is continuing for Alabama. And because of that, there's no reason to think they can't continue to be the team to beat in the SEC along with Georgia in 2024, 2025, and beyond.